Okay, now that we have MSODBC installed, let's go ahead and install Python. And for Jupyter Labs, I'm going to want to use the Anaconda distribution because that's what the book uses. You can actually use the regular Python from python.org and use pip to install Jupyter Labs and all the other parts that you need. But it's nice to have all of that stuff bundled up into one install. And so let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go and open Google Chrome and I'm going to search for um, Anaconda download. And you should see right at the top a link for Anaconda products individual edition Anaconda. And I'm going to click on that link. And then right at the top, there should be a download link and then additional installers if you're on Macintosh or Linux. So I'm on Windows. I'm going to download the current version, which is version 3.8. The Anaconda distribution is always behind the python.org distribution. Deliberately because they want to work out incompatibilities in libraries. Okay, so that downloaded and should be done being virus checked in a minute here. And I'm just going to go ahead and click on that to run it. So it's loading the installer and then agree to the license terms. I'll install it for all users on my machine. And we'll go ahead and install. So all of the defaults should be fine. You may or may not want to add Anaconda 3 to the system path environment variable. It mainly depends on whether you want to be able to run the Anaconda version of Python from the command line or the regular version that you might have installed from elsewhere. But the recommended thing is to use there'll be a shortcut set up in your start menu that lets you open a command shell with the right environment settings. And so that's what I'm going to go for here. And I'm not going to register Anaconda 3 as the system Python 3.8 because I already have a Python 3.9 installed on this machine. So I'm going to go ahead and just install. Okay, so that took quite a while to install the package cache and the base environment, but it's done now. So let's go ahead and not launch these things just yet. Helpful tips and resources. So I'll just go ahead and finish. And then to verify that everything installed correctly, under your start menu, you should have some recently added, including Jupyter Notebook link to Anaconda and Spider and so on. But the main thing is under this Anaconda 3 folder. There's the Anaconda Navigator that you can use to launch various things and to also look at the packages that you have installed in your environment and to control your environments. And there's also a command shell with the Anaconda environment, and you can use that to issue conda commands to install packages and things like that. And then you can launch Jupyter Notebook directly from here, but we want to use Jupyter Lab. So I'm going to start by launching the Anaconda Navigator. And it's called Anaconda 3 because it uses Python version 3, not because it's version 3 of Anaconda. It's just based on Python 3. And so it's starting up, initializing. Okay, so it's running, and it started up a browser window in the background here. Actually, it's asking me, there's a new version of Anaconda Navigator available, recommends that I update. Um, so I'm going to go ahead and update that. And I'll allow the program to make changes. Anaconda Navigator is still busy. Do I want to quit? Yes, let's go ahead and quit. And the navigator's updating. Update now. You might not have to do this depending on when you install Anaconda. Okay, so it updated. Let's go ahead and launch it. Okay, so here's the navigator. And then from here, I can launch a command prompt as well, or you can use the shortcut from the start menu. But I want Jupyter Lab, and so I'm just going to click the launch button. And then it's asking me what browser I want to open Jupyter Labs in, and I'm going to use Google Chrome. And by default, this is going to be the workspace that I see in Jupyter Lab is going to be under my user folder. So specifically, if I go to File Browser and I go this PC, C, users, Mark, this is the root folder that Jupyter Lab is going to be accessing stuff from. Okay, great. So you'll notice that the folders that it's listing here under the root are the same folders as I have here: documents, downloads, favorites, links, and so on and so forth. Now I'm going to go ahead and create a folder for my notebooks under there. So we'll call that notebooks. And then if I go back here and reload, I have a notebooks folder. So I'm going to click on that. And then I'm going to create a new notebook under the notebooks folder, which is initially untitled. So I can right click on it, rename notebook, and then let's call this testDB. And in the next video, we still need one other piece. We haven't installed PyODBC yet. So we'll do that in the next video. I'm just going to go ahead and put a simple test program, print hello world, and Control Enter to execute that. And it prints hello world to the notebook. So looks like Anaconda is installed correctly and Jupyter Labs runs. And so that's it for this video.